Hello and welcome back to the Parc Fermé Parlay podcast with Kieran Downey. First qualifying session of 2025 is done and dusted. We have our first pole sitter. It's probably not going to be a surprise to a lot of you, but we're here to break down all three sessions, baby. So let's get into Q1. And the drivers out were Oliver Bearman in P20, Esteban Ocon, Liam Lawson, Nico Hülkenberg, and Kimi Antonelli in P16. Considering they are 19th and 20th, dead last, I think we should talk about Haas. What's going on with Haas? What's happened to Haas? I feel like we've gone back in time. Is this the 2024 car that we expected to have? Because I didn't expect anything from them last year. Have they got their cars mixed up? What's going on? Why are they so bad? They've completely 180'd. They were bad in 23, they 180'd in 24, and now they've 180'd again. I just don't understand. And looking at Ocon, I just don't understand how he's so slow. He's so slow. The Saubers are beating them. Sauber. And that's just a wheelie bin. A neon wheelie bin. I just don't get it. With Oliver Bearman, I do see something slightly different. I don't understand Ocon whatsoever and how he is so slow. But with Bearman, he's now had two pretty big crashes in 2 sessions. He obviously had that big crash yesterday in FP2. He crashed again today in FP3. So his confidence will be completely knocked. And I understand that. And Martin Brundle made a very good point that Haas were going to be at the back. If you look at Esteban Ocon, it is clear they were going to be at the back. So what they should have done is maybe just stuck a pair of mediums on and just let him go and rack up some laps. Because he's missed a whole session now. So let's get him out and let's build his confidence back up in the car. Because his confidence is probably shot. You can see it in the drivers when just even the tiniest little thing goes wrong. You come round a corner and you get a snap of oversteer or the rear of the car goes away from you. You begin to instantly lose a little bit of confidence and it affects your whole lap time. So imagine what 2 crashes would do before a qualifying session. Let's go and build up his confidence back in the car. But he couldn't even do that because he had a power unit issue. I feel so bad for him. And what's worse is, after his crash in FP3, he had to take a whole new power unit. We've not even finished the first race weekend and he's already had to take a new power unit, which means for the allocations that he's gotten for this year, he's already taken a new internal combustion engine, a new MGU-H, a new MGU-K, and a new turbo. To be completely honest, I just don't know what's going on with Haas. I don't understand why they are so slow. As I said, they've completely 180'd. It's like they've actually just repainted the 2023 car and brought that to this weekend. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. They finished last year on such a high note and we've just completely plummeted back down to the bottom of the grid. After this session, they are 100% the slowest car and it's depressing, to be quite honest. But Oliver Bearman, he didn't have a chance in hell, as I said. Haas were actually the first drivers out for Q1 and I don't even know if he did a push lap. I think he was halfway round on his outlap and he was reporting that he couldn't get 4th gear. He couldn't get into 4th gear properly and had to box, and they basically just retired the car straight away because he's got a power unit issue and they had to start working on it. So are Haas going to be what Sauber was last year, where we're just always wanting more? Potentially. But we'll see what happens in the race tomorrow. Hülkenberg being out, I'm not that surprised about. He's in a Sauber, kind of expected it. I didn't expect Bortoleto to get through, which meant that Kimi Antonelli was knocked out in Q1. They had quite an interesting strategy in Q1 Mercedes. They sent both drivers out on mediums. Russell actually did all right. He got a fairly decent lap time. I think he was sitting P5 or something like that. But it meant that he had soft tyres for further sessions and when they really needed them. Antonelli said it was a agreement within the team that that's what they would do. He just didn't have it and he was very unfortunate. Antonelli ran wide at turn 6. It dislodged something in the car. I think it was the front bib of the car, which meant that it was just scraping along the ground. The sparks coming out the back of that car were insane. And it just meant he was losing time consistently. He just couldn't get decent lap times in. He looked like he could get through by the skin of his teeth, and then Bortoleto came out of nowhere in a Sauber and knocked him out. The big shock was Liam Lawson. I think that says everything you need to know. I did not expect Liam Lawson to be out in Q1. I thought at least he'd be getting into Q2. And coming into qualifying, Lawson was in a real danger. He'd obviously missed a lot of FP3 with a power unit issue. He's never raced in Australia before. He was in need of a big lap, and I think it was Christian Horner said that they wanted Lawson just to get out and get some running in. But similar to what we've seen in practice, he looks really scrappy in the car. He's not comfortable in that car, and he's fighting the car a lot, and it's affecting, well, obviously it affected his qualifying times. When it mattered, when he needed to put a big lap in and set a solid time, he just couldn't. He just was wrestling that car. He was not comfortable in it. He looked incredibly scrappy, as I've said. On his final lap, I think everything that could go wrong outside of crashing went wrong. He had big snaps of oversteer, big snaps of understeer. He looked like he had no grip at all. As the lap unfolded, it just looked like he had less and less grip. He had a lock-up, he ended up on the grass, and I get he had a massive lack of running on this track, but then coming into the final few corners, he ran wide again, ended up on the grass, and just had to abort the lap completely. Not what Red Bull would be wanting, considering where Max Verstappen ended up. We've got no difference. And I know it's only the first race of the season, and there is still 23. It's a long season. We've got 23 races to go, but we have not gained anything between Checo and Liam. Right now, it's even Stevens. Like, there's no difference between the two. Not great for Red Bull, to be quite honest, especially when Verstappen, to be fair, is doing Verstappen things, and you can never really count him out, and he will always do incredible work with subpar machinery. Well, you do incredible work with whatever you give him, but Lawson just completely off the pace. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on in the race. He also went wide at turn 3, very nearly crashed his car, and it was the service road that saved him. So it's touch and go for Lawson. He's in quite a tricky situation at the moment, and he's going to have to deliver tomorrow. As I said, turn 6 and turn 12 was something that plagued all the drivers pretty much. Everyone was kicking up gravel all over the track, and it really hampered quite a lot of drivers, especially as we come into Q2. With the likes of Alonso, but I have a feeling that we'll leave this weekend, and when we return to Australia next year, there will be some track changes, especially to the gravel at turn 6 and turn 12, because it's catching so many drivers out, and it's really hampering a lot of runs because there's gravel all over the track. All right, moving on to Q2, and the drivers out were in P15, Gabriel Bortoleto, Jack Doohan, Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso, and in P11, Isaac Hadjar. Gabriel Bortoleto, I was not familiar with your game, my friend. Oh my God. Listen, I know that Gabriel Bortoleto is an incredible driver. He's the F2 champion. I watched him all of last year with some stunning drives in the Formula 2 Championship. Coming into Formula 1, did I expect Gabriel Bortoleto to be out-qualifying a Red Bull and a Mercedes? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He out-qualified a fellow rookie in Kimi Antonelli, who is arguably in the best car out of all the rookies, and he out-qualified Liam Lawson in a Red Bull, and he's driving a Sauber. That should speak volumes of the talent that Gabriel Bortoleto has. He's seen the comments of Helmut Marko rating him as a B driver, and he has gone out there and said, I will do what I have to do to show you that this guy is wrong. And he has absolutely done that today. He's out-qualified Liam Lawson. The guy that Helmut Marko was so insistent in getting in the car, he's out-qualified him. He's out-qualified Kimi Antonelli. He out-qualified his own teammate, an experienced Formula 1 driver. Well done, Gabriel Bortoleto. I did not expect a Sauber to get into Q2, let alone it be Gabriel Bortoleto, purely because he is driving a Sauber, but the talent on show, the proof is there. Did I expect him to get any higher? No. P15 is where I think the highest he could go. It is an incredible result for Bortoleto, and I would say I'm excited to see what he can do tomorrow, but I'm not expecting much, to be honest with you. I'm not sure about the race pace on that Cyber. I'm not sure about the Cyber at all. He just did an incredible job. An incredible job. Jack Doohan being out in 14, kind of expecting it, to be honest. Gasly not that far ahead of him. This is the thing. When we're looking at these drivers being out where they are, it's not like there's huge time differences. That is one thing I will say. The field is so tight. Like, I think by the end of Q1, there was less than a second splitting the top 15 drivers. They were all within a second of one another. So it is incredibly, incredibly tight. So there are not huge differences between Doohan being out in P14 and where Gasly finished Q2. So still a very good result for Jack Doohan. Stroll is where I expect him to be. Alonso, I think, could have gotten higher. However, this issue where I'm saying with like the gravel and stuff. He picked up some floor damage in his first Q2 run, which just hampered his performance from the rest of the session. I don't know whether he went over the barrier, but he was reporting that he was running over a lot of gravel on the track and it was really, really slowing him down. I doubt that's where he got the damage from, but Aston Martin said he picked up some damage and it really, really hampered him because Alonso was flying. He was flying. He was racking up purple sectors like nobody's business. And I was like, surprising coming from Aston Martin, but it's just a shame he couldn't get any higher up. I do think that he might be a bit of a sleeper cell, to be honest. He might be a bit of a silent assassin and just sort of come out of nowhere. So keeping an eye on Fernando Alonso. And then we have Isaac Hadjar in P11, who is the best performing rookie. He is the one that is surprising me a lot because he's taken such a good approach to this. Come into F1, and when we did testing, I wasn't that sure on the V-carb. And now we've come to Australia, and again through the practice sessions, I wasn't that sure on the V-carb. Well, all my thoughts on that car are out the window. They're gone. Hadjar has done exactly what I think he's done the correct thing, where he's come in, he's eased himself into the sessions. He's not just gone out and gone blistering and trying to rack up incredible lap times. He's really eased himself into it, and it's paying because he's now comfortable with the car. Whereas Oliver Bearman just went out and just went for it, and he's had 2 crashes already. Hadjar has just had a measured approach and just really let himself get comfortable with the machinery, and look at what's happened. He's the highest rookie in qualifying. He's P11. And it seems like that V-carb is a decent car. He should be in for a pretty decent weekend, I think. Like, I was a bit worried for Hadjar because, again, somebody that I watched in F2 last year, he can be really aggressive. And I was worried that he would come into it and be really aggressive again now. But it's just kind of taking it slow. And I wasn't expecting that. But as I said, it's paying back with these incredible results, being the highest rookie, being P11, almost making it into Q3 in his first qualifying in Formula 1. Incredible work from Isaac Hadjar. So yeah, Hadjar looked incredibly impressive and just missed out. He just missed out on a Q3 appearance. All right, and Q3, and the lineup is in P10, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon, P5, Yuki Tsunoda, George Russell, Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, and our pole sitter, Lando Norris. Let's just go through from 10 to 1. Williams, my God, what a turnaround. What a turnaround. Did I expect after their strong practice performances and a strong couple of quali Q1, Q2 for Carlos Sainz to be higher? Yes. However, P10 in that Williams is not bad. He's into Q3. He's looking solid for tomorrow. I was watching his post-quali chat in the media pen with the press, and he says like, yeah, I made a few mistakes and I know exactly where I went wrong and I know what to do to fix it. He seems positive going into tomorrow. Alex bloody Albon going P6. P6. Alex Albon in a Williams has outqualified both the Ferrari drivers and his teammate of Carlos Sainz. It's an incredible start to the season for Albon, and I was actually watching him speak to Naomi Schiff and Simon Lazenby after the session for Sky, and he looks like a completely different man. He was positive, he was happy, he was saying that it's like a complete night and day at Williams from like this year to last year. He said that they're got a solid program in for performance upgrades. They've got spare pieces for the cars so that, you know, because this time last year, when they were in Australia, Alex crashed the car and had to take Logan's car. That doesn't seem to be the case this year. He knows the performance of the car is a lot better. They're both in Q3. They know that they can solidly fight for points. He's excited for the rest of the season. What is going on? Williams! Both the drivers look to be enjoying themselves so much with this car and are so happy with the performance it's giving them. Alex Albon said the car is more predictable. The rear of the car is a lot better. It was an issue that plagued 2024's car. They just look to be on the right path. I think this is the moment. In 24, we kept hearing a lot of James Vowles talking about, you know, it'll come, the performance, and, you know, it's a long game and everything. And I always kind of thought that there would be a moment that it would switch for Williams. I think this is that moment. They seem to have gotten it right this year, and things seem to be looking up for Williams. So I'm very excited. I think they've got some solid points to start the season coming tomorrow. Very, very excited. Pierre Gasly in P9, very respectful start to the season. A solid start to the season, actually, for Gasly in that Alpine. I bet that they are looking for some solid points tomorrow to start that season. I can't imagine Doohan will be far behind him, to be honest, because there's not much that's separating these drivers. So, very good result for Pierre Gasly. Ferrari sitting P7, P8, Leclerc P7, Hamilton P8. I don't know what happened in Q3. Q2 seemed to be a bit of a stronger performance for them. Leclerc especially seemed to be doing better than what he did in Q3. Now, both the drivers were overheating their tyres coming into the final sector every single time they were out, and it was really just hampering their lap times. Hamilton actually lost the car. This was in Q2, lost the car, and spun, was actually facing the wrong way, and it just ruined his final lap of Q2, but he'd already done enough to get him into Q3. Now, when we get to Q3, again, that sort of final sector really just pulled the lap time down for the boys. What I will say is I do think it was a bit strange that they sent Leclerc out on a fresh soft for his first lap of Q3, which meant that when everyone else was going out with fresh softs for their second and sort of final fast lap, Leclerc was unused, and he was never going to get a solid lap time in on used softs. So I don't know why we made that call, because he could have been a bit higher up. Also wonder if Ferrari are playing a little bit of a strategical game based on what the weather is going to be tomorrow. There is a threat of rain tomorrow. The Grand Prix starts, I think, about 3 p.m. Melbourne time. The rain in Melbourne is due to kick in about 11 a.m., ease up around 1 and 2, and then kick in again at 3. I wonder if Ferrari have done a setup on the car that will sacrifice their quali pace, put more downforce on, which means that they'll have more grip tomorrow if it rains. If it does rain and they have done a higher downforce setup and they have more grip, they could have played a blinder and they will have an edge on everyone else that maybe hasn't. If we do end up with a dry race tomorrow, and they have done that, they are sitting ducks. They are sitting ducks for everyone else around them. I don't know if that's what they have done. Leclerc, in his post-quali chat with the press, said, from this morning, the performance wasn't like yesterday. I think I know what went wrong, but I have to see the data first. We did the right thing, and we have to lose some performance, but it was the right thing to do, but I won't go into detail. Which makes me think that they have sacrificed their qualifying performance for the race tomorrow by doing a setup that means that they won't be as fast in qualifying, but it will give them a better chance in the rain because they'll have better grip and they should be faster in the rain. That's what I'm thinking. And now, if that's what they have done, I hope it does bloody rain tomorrow. I mean, I hope it does rain anyway, because I love a little changeable condition in a race. Have Ferrari played a blinder? We'll find out tomorrow. And in P5, Yuki Tsunoda, my man, chefing up a storm, so he was, sticking that V-car P5 with an absolute banker lap. It was incredible. Right when it mattered, at the final moments of qualifying, his last lap, the session's over, and he sticks that car P5. What a performance. I'm going to say it, and I know everybody says it. He's a fucking brilliant driver. That is a clear message and a middle finger to Liam Lawson if ever I've seen one. The fact that Yuki in a V-carb in the sister team has not only got himself into Q3, but got himself P5 in qualifying, and Liam Lawson is out in P18, that is absolute cinema. Everyone is eating that up. I am loving the memes. I'm loving everything around it. It is brilliant. He's going to be like Kendrick Lamar walking past Liam Lawson. It is absolutely brilliant. And do you know what makes it even better? Is that Liam Lawson has just a bit of arrogance around him. He's just a little bit arrogant. And then he's out in P18, and biggest rival, arguably, in the sister team has gotten through to Q3 and qualified in 5th. Yuki Tsunoda, what a fucking guy. Yuki Tsunoda, what a man. Absolute banker, just incredible. And I am so excited. He is so excited. You can see how happy he is. I think it actually took him a little bit by surprise. I'm so excited to see what he does tomorrow. As I said, that V-carb actually is surprising me a little bit, because in testing I wasn't sure. It looked to be quite slow. And then in practice, again, I wasn't too sure. But both V-carb drivers have had a solid performance, so very exciting for them. We have Russell in P4, kind of where I expect the Mercedes to be. Interesting that he is lining up alongside Max Verstappen. That could be fireworks, because Verstappen is P3. Where I expect Verstappen to be in and around that top few positions, those first couple of rows. He looked ominous. At one point, he was just racking up purple sectors, and it actually looked at one point that he was going to be on pole, but the McLarens just had the edge. They both put in stunning laps. I'll come on to them shortly, but a very decent performance from Verstappen. You can see that the car is difficult to drive. He is wrestling it a little bit, but as I've said before, you can never count Verstappen out, and he is an absolute animal, and he wrestles these cars into positions that they might not deserve to be in. It's actually brilliant watching him qualify and watching him race, because he is an absolute animal, and that was a great performance from Verstappen. It just comes out of nowhere. It's sort of this thing that happens is he has these practice sessions and we all get question marks and we all go, oh, is Verstappen going to have a bad weekend? And then out of quali, he just comes to quali like a bat out of hell and just sticks that car towards the front of the pack. So absolutely class work from Verstappen. And then the McLaren boys both came into Q3 looking decent. Both had a very questionable start to Q3. Norris had the lap time deleted. Piastri went wide, which really hampered his lap time. So again, when it mattered, they put absolute stormers in. When it mattered, when it counted the most, they went out and they secured a front row lockout for that team. And I'm very excited to see what they do tomorrow. My prediction was Norris on pole, which I got right. And my other prediction was Piastri winning. So I am very excited going into tomorrow's race to see what happens. Again, you have Verstappen, who ominously is just sitting P3. And I would not count Verstappen out. I don't think you could count Russell out. I'm not counting out the Ferrari boys, to be completely honest. If they have got it right and it rains and they've done the right setup, they could be in with a shot, to be quite honest. And it's interesting because everybody knows and everybody is saying that a P7 and P8 for Ferrari in qualifying is not the performance of that car. None of the pundits think so. None of the team principals think so. Andrea Stella said it, and Toto Wolff said it, that car has definitely got more performance in it, and a P7 and P8 is not realistic of that car. So I'm very intrigued to see what we do tomorrow. As I said, the timings, in every single session, the timings, there is nothing in it. Like in Q1, there was less than a second splitting the top 15 drivers. That's nothing. And every single time, every session, there's just nothing. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths splitting these drivers. So we are in for an absolute, I think we're in for an absolute stonker of a race tomorrow. And I think it's going to be, I think this year is going to be an absolute dogfight every single session. every qualifying and every race. The pack has never been closer, and it's so exciting. It's so exciting. So now we will be back tomorrow after the race. Controversial opinion, but I actually really enjoy a really early morning race. See, when the race is like a 4 a.m, 5 a.m, 6 a.m start, I'm all for it. I'm there. It's class. So I can't wait tomorrow to be up at like 3 so I can get myself prepared and ready for a 4 a.m race start. I will see you then, and I will see you after the race for our post-race review. It's going to be a very exciting opening race for the season. You're not going to want to miss it, but we will see you tomorrow after the race. Enjoy the rest of your day. Love you. Bye.